I think it's only right you start with the Super Bowl champs, right? Get them out the way.
God, man, get them out of the way, man. Say what you got to say about them, and just keep it moving, man. Please, bro. I,
Ah.
I hate them dudes so much, man.
It's the Cowboys in you, man. That's all. It's the Cowboys in
Uh, uh, he is a holdout, Raffy. He is a holdout. He's Trey Hendrickson is about his money, man. He is a
you. Nah, he ain't
holdout.
playing. He's not gonna be that team player, good sport. F
He
you.
is a holdout. Micah Parsons is probably going to come. He's probably going to report and be a hold in. Everybody else for the most part is a hold in. James Cook is practicing. Cortland Sutton is practicing. You not finna see Trey Hendrickson. That boy is staying his ass
He
home.
wants his money. He wants
He's
his
staying
money.
his ass home. All right, man. Get on with these Philly Eagles, man. What you got to say about these dudes, man?
The Philadelphia Eagles.
Did you?
Look,
You ain't had to do all that, dog. You ain't had to put that extra sauce on that, bro. Like that, you
listen,
know.
man, Herbie. Look. Listen, man. When it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, I mean, what is there? What can you really say about these guys, Herbie? In terms of all 32 NFL teams, if there is any team that is in position to get back to the heights that they reached, it's going to be the Philadelphia Eagles, right? When you consider the fact, look, in the offseason, they did lose a few guys, right? You have Brandon Graham, he retired. Josh Sweat ended up leaving and going to the Cardinals. Mekhi Becton left and went to another team. But they still have 4 out of those 5 starters on that offensive line from last season coming back, including a future Hall of Famer in Lane Johnson. They still have the great Saquon Barkley. They still have AJ Brown. They still have what's his name? Devontae Smith. They still have Dallas Goedert. And most importantly, they still have Jalen Hurts. So when you look at the Philadelphia Eagles from an offensive standpoint, Herbie, we're going to get more of the same in terms of what the Philly can do on offense, right? They have they can dominate pretty much on every level of their offense, right? They can, if they want to run the ball all over you, they can do that. If they want to throw the ball on you, they can do that. Now, they don't do that a lot with Jalen Hurts, and it's not because he can't do it, it's just because they don't have to. Right? When you have the fat boys up front that they have with an electric player like Saquon, it affords you that option, right? And then you look at their defense, Herbie. They did lose some guys on defense, right? I already mentioned Josh Sweat. They lost Milton, right? They lost a few guys on defense, right? They lost C.J. Gardner-Johnson. But the Eagles, and this is where a ton of credit goes to Howie Roseman, the GM, right? Because he did such a good job of acquiring talent and adding depth that even when the Eagles lose talented guys, they still got talented guys left. You still have the terrific tandem of Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. You still have Zach Bond, who you drafted Jahad Campbell, who he was one of the linebackers that I was really, really like. He was one of my favorite prospects when I was looking at, the draft guys, earlier in the offseason, right? And you're gonna pair him with Zach Bond, who had an outstanding year last year, who came back to the Eagles. I think they were thinking about letting him go, but he played so well last year they decided to bring him back. And then, of course, Herbie, you can't forget about those guys in the secondary, those young players. When you look at Cooper DeJean, who was just completely awesome in his first year, Quinyon Mitchell, you know what I'm saying? They added who did they add in the offseason? I know I wrote it down. They added Adoree Jackson because they did lose a few corners. They lost talented guys like Isaiah Rodgers and whatnot at the cornerback spot. But Herbie, the Eagles are in as good a shape as any team in the NFC, Herbie. They are still the most talented team in the NFC, and they are now at that level to where, Herbie, they are the team in the NFC that has the championship air, right? The Chiefs in the AFC are the team that has been carrying that. But if you really look at the Eagles the past few seasons, they went to a Super Bowl a couple years back. They lost. They started 10-1 in 2023, and because their defense had a lot of holes in it, they tapered off towards the end of the season and lost to the Bucks. But they started 10-1. And now you look at them in 2024, they were once again one of the best teams in the NFL, and they won the Super Bowl, Herbie. And the foundation is in place. The culture is in place. All the key figures needed to have sustained success are there. So when I look at the Eagles, Herbie, I'm sorry to spell doom for you, but I mean, I think they're going to be the number 1 seed in the NFC again. I don't know who is going to rise up from any of these divisions that's going to really be able to topple them, especially when you consider the fact that they have a majority of their talent returning. A lot of these players are young and they're only going to be better. And they have the championship aura around them to where it's just like they've been there and done that. So when they get into these playoff situations that they were already good at excelling in, they're gonna have even more confidence. They're gonna have even more bravado. So I mean, the Eagles, Herbie, they're gonna be as terrifying as any team in the league. Maybe their offensive line takes a hit because Mekhi Becton left, but they still have tons of other talented guys. It's just, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. That just the Eagles are probably going to be the best team in the NFC again.
All right, so first things first, we got some new people who might not be familiar with the dynamic of the show, like, i.e. Hammer and a couple people that might be in the chat, right? The reason why you're seeing me, a person that is on a Dolphins-centric podcast and such discuss, it's because I'm not actually a Dolphins fan. I am a former, keyword, former
Man, you still a Cowboys
Dallas Cowboys fan. So that is where this
Eagle,
disgust is coming from for anybody who might be confused. Like, what's his problem with the Eagles? I hate them. I hate them. But I seen something in the comment, you feel me, that I had to highlight, man. Shout out to what Hammer said, man. Jalen Hurts doesn't wear his ring because he didn't deserve it. Tuck your ish, Hammer. Tuck your ish, man. Talk your ish, man. Talk your ish, Hammer. He don't deserve that. He don't deserve that. Get out of here with all that, man. I'm going to say this before we move on to the next team. Raffy, we did the Lions last week, man. We got the NFC North last week, so we going through all the divisions, bro, until the season starts. So
I think when he said line, I think he was like asking compared to when I said the Eagles could be the best in the NFC. I'll be honest with you.
My apologies. I'm sorry.
No, but to your point, Rafi, the Lions, and I spoke about it on the last week's show. I don't even think the Lions are going to win the division, and it's not like I think they're going to be bad. The Lions, I think, are still going to be a playoff team for sure. It's just with the Packers and the Vikings and possibly the Bears, it's going to be a tough division, right?
Super tough.
So, the Lions and then Washington, I think Washington will improve. And, obviously Herbie's going to get to that. But at the end of the day, I still think Washington just doesn't have enough. When you look at the total rosters, even if you feel like Jaden Daniels is better than Jalen Hurts, different people are going to feel differently about this. But if you feel like at the quarterback position, Washington has an edge, they don't have the edge anywhere else. So at the end of the day, it's going to take Washington some time in order for them to be able to reach the Eagles. No matter how great Jaden is, Jalen Hurts is still a top 10 quarterback, right? Like, I don't, he took his shots.
I'm sorry. That made me throw up.
He is.
I'm sorry.
He is.
He is. He was in our top 10. He was 8 on our ranking. So it's just having to acknowledge that makes me sick. I'm going to say this before we get into to Washington to answer Rafi's question. The thing that's going to separate the Philadelphia Eagles from every other team outside of the Baltimore Ravens, and even above the Baltimore Ravens, as we've seen last year's playoff run, they have, man, Hammer, man, shout out to my brother, man.
Okay, hell.
My brother, man.
You got Coach here, man.
I found my tribe, man. You good in my book. But the thing that the Eagles have that we haven't seen in a long time is that the Eagles have an ability to close games without throwing the football. Yep. It's going to be a point in time where they're going to just say, forget all of that. We're not doing no play action. We're not doing no slant route. Forget all that. We don't care. We're going to give this ball to 26, and he's going to get 5 to 6 yards, and there's nothing you could do to stop it.
Nada.
And that is going to be the hardest thing to deal with. They could be down 10 points, and they'll still run the ball. They're still going to run the ball.
They have the tools for that.
That demoralizes you in the playoffs when you're not as fresh, your legs are not as fresh, the sores hurt a lot more. You're in the cold because you might have to go through Philadelphia. You don't want to hit. You don't want to tackle. You don't want to do none of that. and you have a offensive line pushing you 5 yards down the field, and you have a maniac that's jumping up and turning around and hitting backflips in the air at running back. They have the best closing situation in the NFL. They have the best closing situation that I've seen in some time, like a very long time. So they're going to be very, very hard to deal with. Very, very hard to deal with. But to answer, hold on, right here.
Randy.
How do I feel about Joe Milton practicing the option, doing the pitch for them boys? Might as well. Like, if you got Joe Milton, figure out what you can do. Like, figure out. See, the problem with Joe Milton, and this is why it didn't really make sense for him to get for us. I'm sorry for the Cowboys. I said us. Disgusting. Sorry
It's still in
for
you.
the Cowboys to trade for him is because Joe Milton is fundamentally 100% completely different as a quarterback than Dak Prescott. So why even get somebody like that? But it is what it is, man. Let's go on to the next team, man. Washington Redskins. So the Washington Redskins are the 2025 version of the 2009. I want to say, was it the 2009 Eagles? The Dream Team Eagles? Was that 09?
I think it was like 09, 2010, around that
Yeah,
time.
something like that. This has the potential to be that version of that team. I think it's not because I really, really believe in Jaden Daniels. We had him as a top 5 quarterback coming into this season. Like, I really believe in Jaden Daniels. Like, to see what he did last year, the cool, the calm, the resolve, the just absolutely unfazed by everything. I think he'll be able to overcome what I could potentially see as a very, very overrated offseason, dog. Sophomore slump. This man said just own it. I
Don't
don't
lie
want
to
to.
yourself.
I don't want to, True. I don't want to. Sophomore slump for Jaden Daniels. Maybe, but I
I
think
don't
they
think
did. I think they went a long way to prevent that by trading for Larry Tunsil. Was Larry Tunsil as good as he was in the past? Not necessarily, but Larry Tunsil was significantly better who they had at left tackle last year, right? But if you actually just look at the additions, this is what happens when you have a young dude at quarterback who's way above schedule. It makes you think that you're closer to something than you really are. Yes, they did get to. They got to the NFC Championship or the second
it was
round. It was
NFC
second round.
championship. Yep.
NFC Championship, right? So you're like, oh, we're very close. We're very close. Debo Samuel, that man running like he got a piano on his back, man. He doesn't make you that much closer. Michael Gallup doesn't make you that much closer. Like, Javon Kinlaw is a good defensive tackle. He's not gonna make you that much closer, right? Like, to me, this hinges on Marshawn Lattimore and Laramie Tunsil. If you have a dominant football player at cornerback, which they had one of the worst secondaries in the league last year, you're gonna get better. If you have a dominant left tackle, you're gonna get better. But I don't think that Washington is gonna get significantly better, right? Nah, y'all need to watch Debo in practice, Raffy. You need to watch Debo. Debo is going 5 miles per hour right now, man. It looks pretty. It looks pretty. He's trying, but
He's
he's not
strong.
going nowhere. He's strong. He's strong. Strong with a K. He's strong. But it ain't really going nowhere. I just think it's gonna be a situation where it might be a team that they thought they were better than they were based off of the situation, right? The Cowboys had an injury. The Giants were really, really bad. There really wasn't that many teams in the NFC because by the time the Lions got to the playoffs, half of their team was on IR. And then Sam Darnold did what he did in the playoffs, right? So there really wasn't a hard path to get to the NFC Championship. They got to the NFC Championship because Jaden was awesome and, but things had to go in their favor. The offseason that they had doesn't make them that much better. I don't think they're better talent-wise than the Vikings. I don't think they're better than a healthy Lions team. I don't think they're better than in this version of the Packers with everything that the Packers did. So it is going to be interesting to actually see what this team is. They just got a whole bunch of names, but I don't think that makes them elite. We're going to see how great this team is. And this team is literally going to be based off of how good Jaden Daniels is. It's not going to be because the team is actually all that much better, in my opinion. So that'll be interesting, man.
I
Rod.
mean, you know what? You know what, Herb? I mean, I To be honest, I agree with what you said, right? Thinking about the moves that they made, right? Like, is Dietrich Wise and Jacob Martin really going to make a difference? Javon Kinlaw is not somebody who ever did anything, right? And they signed him. So,
Right, right.
you know what I mean? Like, he's not. And then, you had Brian Robinson and Eckler last year who didn't do much. Granted, Robinson was dealing with injuries. So you hope that Robinson is healthy this season, and that should give you more of a boost at that position. But like you said, Herbie, you look at the defense. Yeah, they have Lattimore and Saintstra, which make a strong cornerback pair. But when you look at the rest of what they got going on, and of course Frankie Louvu, man, can't forget about him. They added, they have Bobby Wagner and him. They'll make a great tandem. And Frankie
But
Louvu is
even
probably
with
one of the best.
Bobby Wagner is a first ballot
He's
Hall of
old.
Famer. He's
Yeah, he's old.
35, dog. Like,
He's old.
and they
He's
already
old.
had the 31st ranked rush defense last year. Like,
Right.
swapping Jonathan Jones for Javon Kinlaw, and when it comes to run defense, it makes you marginally better. So it's just I see the hype coming into this. Yeah, he is old, right? Like, he is old.
Right.
But
He
I
is.
see the hype because of where they finished last season, and because of and of course there's gonna be enthusiasm. You only think you're gonna get better. It's the NFL, bro. Everybody's getting better. The NFC is objectively better. And we could get to it with the next team. We're like, get your jokes off, but as crazy as this sounds, Russell Wilson makes the Giants better, right? A healthy Dak Prescott makes the Cowboys better. All it takes is one or two games, and you might go from a second or third seed to a sixth seed, right? So, I just don't think the Redskins are as good as people think they are. It is purely hype based
Well, you know what
as
it
of
is?
now.
It's based on the development of Jaden, right? Like, if
Right, 100%.
is
Because
Jaden
if he's
staying
if he's if he's a top five quarterback, then none of this even matters.
right.
None of this matters because he's gonna make everybody on offense better than they have any right to be anyway. Because that's what top five quarterbacks do. Um, Hold on, let me get some of these, man. Oh, Zach Ertz, yep. I think the boys are dark horse in the East. All talk is the champs in the skins. Rod, I had to digest that one. I'm sorry, my apologies, dog. Let's transition over to the New York Giants. Actually, I was gonna think about if I wanted to go ahead and talk about the Cowboys, but I was like, no, we'll save it for last. So let's go ahead and what you got for when it comes to the New York Giants, man?
Well, look, man. Listen, the New York Giants, Herbie. If I'm uh, the the New York Giants, I don't want to say they don't have anything to be excited about, because at the end of the day, they are a better team than they were last year. And a part of it is, Herbie, the Giants, the way I look at the way this team is, right? The Daniel Jones era was purgatory. The Daniel Jones era was them was Giants ownership and the front office not wanting to admit the massive mistake they made, the massive whiff they made on picking Jones just because he was Eli's lookalike. Now, of course, they decided instead of getting an Eli lookalike, we'll just get a guy too who went to the same school. We'll get a guy from Ole Miss. All right, cool. But this is what I'll say about the Giants, Herbie, because I don't think in any football situation there's any team that doesn't have anything. So I'll start with the things that I think the Giants can look forward to, and then the overall picture of the Giants. Number one thing the Giants can look forward to: Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors was fantastic last year when he played, and he had Daniel Jones looking like a way better quarterback than he was. He has a top five receiver in this league potential, regardless of who the quarterback is throwing him the ball. It just so happened he's going to have Wilson throwing him the ball, so that helps. Tyrone Tracy is another thing on their offense. When I was watching some film on the Giants, he wasn't a guy I was too familiar with because I haven't played fantasy football in years. But when I was watching highlights of Tyrone Tracy, I said, "Well, damn, they got themselves a really freaking nice running back." So when you look at their offense, they do have a couple of skill position players that can make something happen with the veteran quarterbacks that they have. The problem with the Giants, though, is that their offensive line has continued to be a problem, right? Andrew Thomas, when he's been healthy, has been a really solid tackle. But when you look at the rest of their line, they have too many questions, and they didn't really do, in my opinion, a great job addressing all of that, right? So the Giants' offensive line will always be a massive question mark for them. And when you look at Jackson Dart, who look Jackson Dart as a quarterback, based on what I know of him from college, on the little I've watched of him, He's a guy that he's accurate on short to intermediate throws. He has some touch on his passes. He has some athleticism. He can extend plays. He has physical tools that you would want in a quarterback. But he played at Ole Miss, Herbie, and they don't run a pro style offense. So you wonder how much of the scheme at Ole Miss really helped him look better than he was, right? You wonder about his ability in the pros to anticipate. And then when you look at it, and he's not someone who's ever really performed well under pressure in college. So in the NFL with a bad offensive line, whatever pocket presence or whatever little pocket presence he has, it's not going to look good if the offensive line doesn't hold up. But the crazy thing about the Giants, Herbie, is that I don't even think they're not gonna be a good team, but they're gonna be enough of a nuisance because I think their defense got a lot better. When you look at their defensive line, Herbie, you could make a solid argument. On paper, they have one of the best D lines in football. When you look at Brian Burns, when you look at Kayvon Thibodeau, when you look at Dexter Lawrence, when you look at Abdul Carter, who has the opportunity to be a
Man,
Micah Parsons like player.
when I
Like,
tell you this, I've been watching film on the Giants because leading up we did the research, and not to cut you off, but I got to get this in there.
go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Abdul Carter has been wrecking training camp. I mean, wrecking. There is one player in particular. It's going to be hard, but look up Abdul Carter and put bend. It is one of the fastest bend moves I've ever seen. It was a blur. It was to the point where I said, "Yo, if I was the right tackle, I'd be like, bro, what you want me to do, bro? This man turned into a cat.
Nimble as hell.
Like
It's disgusting.
he spin move. And mind you, this is him coming off of foot surgery. He's not even fully healed. He wasn't even supposed to be in training camp because his foot is not completely healed. So he has room to grow physically. So he's going to be a monster. And true, I know you up there in New York and you got a whole bunch of people who are Giant fans who've been following. Abdul Carter is going to be a problem for a very long time. If what we're seeing in training camp transitions to actual games, yeah, bro, he's Michael Parsons 2.0 for sure, potential wise, man.
Right. And think about this, Herbie. You already have Dexter Lawrence, he's
Best
been
tackle, the best defensive tackle in football.
right. And he's great in pass rushing and run stopping, right? He's going to demand a lot of attention. You already had Brian Burns. You already had Kayvon Thibodeau. Now you add Abdul Carter, who is the unknown, who's the guy who's probably, at least to start, going to get the least attention. The Giants' pass rush is going to be terrifying. And then you look at what they added in the secondary, right? That was one of the worst things about them. They got Javon Holland, who, despite having a down year with Weaver last year, prior to Weaver, he was one of the better safeties in the league.
Mm-hmm.
They get a Debo from the Saints, who was a talented, really solid cornerback. So when you look at the moves they made on defense, Herbie, their defense last year, whether people realize it or not, they ranked 8th in the pass last year. Yeah. They ranked 9th in touchdowns last year. And yeah, you can make the argument, okay, teams got up on them early. And, if you had that context, maybe teams didn't have to throw as much on them. But I in a 17-game span, Herbie, to be ranked 8th in passing, I think that means something, no matter how much people try to take away from it. And then you added an even stronger pass rush. You added better players in the secondary to shore up weaknesses on that side of the ball. So the way I look at the Giants, Herbie, you have Russell Wilson at quarterback. They have a few skill position players. You have the defense that you're going to have. Although they, to me, are likely to be the worst team in the East when you consider, where the Eagles are, what we believe Washington to be, the talent that the Cowboys could put together depending on the health of certain guys. You look at the Giants, Herbie, they won't be, and the messed up thing about it too, their schedule, bro, for a last place team, that shit it's not fair. Like they have one of the toughest schedules in the NFL next year. Even when you just look at it, they get the Eagles twice, first of all. They get Washington twice. They get the Cowboys twice. I actually have the list here. Here are the other games they have. They play Kansas City. They play the Chargers. They play Denver. They play Green Bay. They play Minnesota.
That's rough.
They play San Fran.
That's
Herbie,
rough.
The Giants are in for a tough season. But if I am a Giants fan, what you're really looking forward to is the develop. First of all, they're going to throw Russ out there, and he's going to be the one to deal with all the problems with the offensive line. We're going to see where the offensive line is early. right? So Jackson Dart won't be killed right away. But I think if the offensive line performs a little better than they think, I think they should throw Jackson Dart out there and let him get some reps because he's the guy that you're gonna, you invested a first round pick in him. He's gonna be your future. But if I'm a Giants fan, look, the Giants are gonna be a nuisance of a team. They're not gonna be one of the better teams at all. But because of the defense that they carry, because of some of the skill position players that they have, they're going to cause problems for everybody they play. And listen, they might end up playing spoiler down the line towards the end of the season, which will affect tiebreakers, which will
Listen,
affect positioning.
that
That's
that
what
is
you can hope for.
that is what, if you're a Giants fan, anybody who's a Giants fan that came across this video, what you want to do, your goal this season is to just say, hey, maybe we could screw one of these guys, right? Like,
Yeah.
that is the goal, to play spoiler. See how good your defense is, make it really hard, have a lot of competitive games, and play spoiler, man. So that is what y'all should look forward to when it comes to the
That
2025
pass rush
Giants,
is
man.
gonna be a problem, man.
It is going to be a
It's
problem.
gonna
Like,
be a problem.
it's mathematically impossible to guard everybody on that D line, bro. Like,
Yep.
if you take Kevon Thibodeau and make him the fourth best pass rusher, he's immediately better. He's not a number one pass rusher. He's not a number two, but he's a hell of a number four.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yep.
you got to double Dexter Lawrence, so that's going to free up him. You might have to double Dexter
Brian
Lawrence and
Burns.
potentially Brian Burns. So yeah, bro, for sure. All right, man. Last but not least, let's talk about the Bum
Them
Boys.
boys.
Let's talk about the Dallas Bum Boys,
Them
man.
boys.
Rod, let me explain something to you, Rod. Let me give you the pulse of my fandom, right? Like, you know who I am right now
What's
when it
up?
comes to the Dallas Cowboys, man. There's a saying. You familiar with the saying when it comes to women? They say women have broken up with person, like they broken up with the dude they dealing with 6 months before the actual breakup. Like,
Yeah. Yes, sir.
that's where I'm at with the Cowboys, man. Like, you want to know how disconnected I am from these bums? Like, you know how when you do something to a woman, like we all bros, we all boys here. We all been dealing with women, right? You know when it's really over when you do something that normally pisses her off and she's just like, okay, you're like, oh,
Oh, she
oh,
done.
she's done. Like, I'm not she's out of here. Like, she's gone. Like, it's over. Like,
She already started talking to that next dude. They're on the waiting list. The next man up is up.
It is over. Like, they already been caking and planning their trip to Turks and Caicos. Like, it's over. That's where I'm at with these bums, right? Like, I don't care. Nothing you can say. Like, normally I shake my head when I look at who going into doing the research and be like, bro, really? I looked at who these guys got, bro, and I said, so? Right? Like, how can I care about a team that is going to force Brian Schottenheimer to be a play caller when he hasn't been a play caller since 2020, bro? Like,
Poor decisions, man. Poor
like,
decisions, man.
y'all got Brian Schottenheimer, and then y'all went and got Matt Eberflus to be the defensive coordinator. And shout out to Matt Eberflus, terrible head coach, one of the worst head coaches we've ever seen. He's a damn good defensive coordinator. I will not take that away from him. But so, like, the Cowboys just continue to live off of the idea of the Cowboys, bruh. This is not a good roster. Like, shout out to the homie Randy. I am way more bullish than I was going into the season in regards to us trading for George Pickens. Because my opinion, you cannot bring a YN to Dallas Fort Worth. You can't put that man in that kind of environment. But from everything I've read, George has been very, very good. Obviously, it's a contract year. He wants to get paid. But instant connection with CeeDee Lamb. Them dudes are not like George. I just think he didn't want to be in Pittsburgh anymore. Even if he's not getting the ball, I think he's going to be really, really good because I think he has a great relationship with CeeDee Lamb. I think the Steelers just didn't have enough people on. I think that situation was too confined for a person like George. You got to let George be George. Jerry Jones is going to let George be whatever George wants to be, bro, as long as he produces. Right? So I think George is going to be good. I think that is literally the only highlight of the team, though. I don't believe in anything else. Y'all got to think about this guy. This is a team. This is a team that had Ezekiel Elliott getting rushing attempts in 2024. This is a very unserious organization, guys. Like, this team did not do anything to improve, bruh. You traded for a backup quarterback that does not run the same thing that your starting quarterback runs. So if he gets in, you're going to have a whole different system. That's one. You didn't address the running back room. Javonte Williams is not a savior. He is not
Miles
your
Sanders is
savior.
not a savior.
Miles Sanders is not your savior.
Yeah.
That is two. You sent the hey girl text to Dante Fowler Jr. You let him go for a reason. You send the eyeballs to Dante Fowler Jr. Dante Fowler Jr. is not your savior. That's three. Trayvon Diggs might be gone for half of the season.
Yep. All you have is DaRon Bland.
All you have is DaRon Bland. And DaRon Bland was, I'm not going to, no disrespect to the young bull, but he's clearly was a one-season wonder, bro. Like, okay, all right, Randy, my bad, dog. Randy, you talk, you ain't got Randy. You talk, I'm with you. Like, you will never see a locked-in Dallas Cowboys fan like me, bro. I know. You could be a YN. Now, Michael Irvin, that is a good point. Michael Irvin actually might be the godfather YN of wide receivers, bro. We didn't ever really, now that you think about it.
Like, he was like, the antics he pulled, he was.
Michael Irvin was the OG YN.
He's the OG YN, bro. He was the YN before we could even conceive of YNs, nigga.
No, listen, Randy, I know they're gonna thrive, right? Like I said, George, I actually think this is a better situation than the Steelers because there was too much structure. George is a you got to let George be George. They gonna eat, bro. If Dak is healthy, they're gonna eat. I'm not concerned about that. It is the defense I'm concerned about. It is the running game I'm concerned about. It is the special teams I'm concerned about. It is the coaching I'm concerned about. Because at the end of the day, and last season was pretty much the final straw for me when it comes to being a Cowboys fan, and this is the reason why. When they hired Brian Schottenheimer, it was the true wake-up call that Jerry Jones refuses to hire a coach that will challenge him. If you cannot challenge Jerry Jones, there is a cap on what your team can be.
Yep.
That's just the reality of the situation.
Yep.
There's going to be a cap. Brian Schottenheimer was a career coordinator for a reason, man.
That coaching situation is just not ideal, man.
You got to think about this. You are the son of one of the most legendary coaches in the history of football, Marty Schottenheimer, and nobody wanted to give you a job.
In a league full of nepotism at that.
In a league full of nepotism? Brian Callahan's son got a job, man.
Yep.
Bro, you get a job if your daddy was a coach, man. And nobody wanted to give him a job until Jerry said, F it, I'm going to give him a job, right? Like, I just can't believe in these dudes, man. I've seen it all. I've seen 13-3 seasons. I've seen 14-2 seasons. I've seen everything, bro. And you know what it results in? Not making the NFC Championship game, bro. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. And this is not even me being pessimistic. This is just me reacting to what is being put on the field based off of what they have done in this offseason so far. Like, I'm just going to read some of the key additions, guys. Kevontae Turpin, a key playmaker on special teams. That's what that's the third person they talking about on Chat GPT, dog. A special teams player, dog.
Wild.
Like, career.
Wild.
Kaiir Elam ain't saving nobody, man. He might not even see the field, man. Solomon Thomas, one of the biggest busts that we've seen in recent times.
Terrible.
Like, This team is not good. This team is not good, guys. Right? Like, we are going to see a very mediocre football team play every Sunday at 4:25 Eastern. I promise you. I promise you. Like, back previous season Cowboys, they were disappointing because they were actually talented. This is not a talented team. Like, when you pay people, you're going to lose talent. This is a mediocre team with a $60 million quarterback. This is a mediocre team with a soon-to-be $45 million edge rusher.
Yeah, they're doing all that drama with Micah. You know they're gonna pay him.
This
You
is
know
a
they're
mediocre team with a $30 million plus wide receiver and another potential $25 million receiver as number 2 in George Pickens. There is no helping this team. There's no way out of this mess. I saw the house on fire and I kicked the door down and ran out that mug. All right. So, yeah, man, that is all I have to say on the Dallas Cowboys heading into 2025. It is not a good football team. This team has 8-9, 7-10 written all over it, bro. But we can leave from there though. Rod, any last words before we get out of here, man?
Listen, Herbie. I'll say this, man, because I'm pretty sure any Cowboys fans that stumbled upon this, you gave them no hope. Uh, the one, the one thing I can say is that at least you guys get Dak back, and with Dak in the lineup, you'll be able to win some games, right?
Oh, for sure, for
with
sure.
with Dak and CeeDee Lamb, and because that's who you're going to be relying on. You're going to be relying on Dak with the 2 receivers to really get you through games because of what you lack in the running game. Because the defense will be the Cowboys' defense is an odd defense, Herbie. Because you look at them last year, when it came to pass rushing and getting sacks, they were actually
First in pass rush, and
yeah,
30th in defense.
exactly. They're an enigma. It's like you're one of the best, if not the best, pass rushing team, but you're 31st in points and 28th in yards. Like, huh? Where they do that at? You know what I mean? But look, listen, with Dak playing, Herbie, the Cowboys are going to be in a lot of games. It's just that if you have expectations of them being any more than what they've been, you should probably temper them.
Absolutely, man. All right, man. All in all, man, Rod, another great show. Everybody in the chat, man. Shout out to
Shout out to the
Hammer.
homies.
Shout out to
They're the
Randy.
ones done
Shout
the
out to
man.
Cap. Shout out to True. Shout out to Raffy, man. Shout out to everybody that
Shout out
was
to
in the
Hammer.
chat, man.
Shout out to Randy.
Shout out to everybody, man. We appreciate y'all. I'm looking at the number go up. I'm looking at the live viewership go up, man. We thank you guys so much. We do this because we truly love it. When we truly love the community that we're building, and you guys give us the energy. So if you like this episode, if you like what we're doing, trust me, you're getting this for the whole season because now we actually got football to talk about. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Let's go, man. Let's go, man. So we will see y'all. Ooh, guys, we are going out of town. We're having a boys trip, so we may not do an episode next week, but we'll see if we're able to record before then. We'll go ahead and put a community post. But as of now, we do not have an episode for next week. But we'll see y'all in 2 weeks, man. Deuces. Oh, I done turned the thing off. My bad, y'all.